This is KETV Channel 7. At 10 o'clock, it's Newswatch 7 with Carol Schrader, Michael Scott, sports with John Nicely, and weather with Chief Meteorologist Jim Flowers.
Good evening, everyone. My partner, Michael Scott, is ill this evening. An Omaha woman and her two sons have been found dead in their North Omaha home tonight, the apparent victims of accidental carbon monoxide poisoning. The names of the victims are being withheld by police until several family members are notified. Newswatch 7's Boyd Hubert has the story.
The bodies of the 71-year-old victim and her sons were discovered late this afternoon by a 12-year-old granddaughter. All three were in different rooms of this house at 39th and Iowa. The apparent cause of death, carbon monoxide poisoning. Behind a closed garage door, police found a late model Chevrolet. The ignition was on, but the engine had stopped when the car ran out of gas. In talking to neighbors, police got a clearer picture of what happened.
She usually starts the car up in the morning to warm it up in the garage, and usually pulls the door up, but for some reason today she didn't. She left the car running. At this time, it looks like carbon monoxide seeped up to the residence.
What police and neighbors do not know is why the 71-year-old victim forgot to raise the garage door, a mistake that proved fatal for she and her sons. For Newswatch 7 at 10, I'm Boyd Hubert.
Memorial services culminated across the nation today as the federal government and 36 states marked the birthday of Dr. Martin Luther King. Today's events began in Dr. King's hometown of Atlanta, where Secretary of State George Shultz and the Reverend Jesse Jackson joined Coretta Scott King at a wreath-laying ceremony. That was followed by an ecumenical service at nearby Ebenezer Baptist Church, where Dr. King used to preach. In a speech to the crowd, Secretary Shultz spoke of Dr. King's legacy to Americans and to the rest of the world.
So we are here to honor a man who led a great struggle for people to be free. He showed us that the struggle is worth it. For despite every daily setback and sorrow, the experience of freedom can be had.
Reverend Jackson, one of King's close aides during the civil rights movement, spoke of contemporary racial incidents and told the crowd we are called to act, to march, to protest.
We're called by him for whom we gather. We're called to follow. We're called to follow his quest for family, his quest for the poor.
Elsewhere, a ceremonial ringing of the Liberty Bell in Philadelphia triggered a mass ringing of bells across the nation. And marchers in New York City braved inclement weather to pay tribute to Dr. King and to the young man recently killed during a racially motivated attack. In Omaha, students at Beals Elementary took a break to learn of Dr. King's fight for civil rights. The students heard of King's dream of freedom and equality for all mankind, along with his fight against discrimination. Similar observances were held at many area schools. The Millard School Board has decided district schools should finish the year with no cuts in the budget. The board learned last month it would lose more than $100,000 in state aid, money cut in a special session of the unicameral. Tonight, Millard Superintendent Don Stroh presented board members with a $128,000 list of budget cuts, the amount needed to balance the budget. The largest and most controversial cut was the elimination of summer school. Board member Phil Wright successfully argued that any budget cuts would be a knee-jerk reaction to the legislature.
And in effect, we would be simply doing the same thing that the legislature has done to this district. They have promised monies to the district and have not come through. And in return, we would be affecting our students and staff in the same manner. And I don't think that's proper.
Instead of cutting the budget, board members voted to extract the money needed from the district's cash reserve. The District 66 School Board is wrestling with declining enrollment tonight. The board has approved a plan to bus 7th and 8th grade students living west of Interstate 680 and north of Dodge Street to a new junior high center. Next fall, Westbrook and Valley View junior highs will be closed.